process is underway. We're packing up already for this big trip. We're going to fly. I wonder if we're taking a boat. We're flying. So, but we have a good plan, and it's a big challenge for the whole organization and for both clubs to just get organized to get there. And but it's underway, and looking forward to it. Really, I think it's going to be an exciting event. That it's not nobody's home field, so we'll just go ahead and go for it, and it's kind of like a bowl game, and we'll go make the most of it.
What have you learned about the challenges of this trip, given that you guys haven't made it before?
Well, you can't imagine how long and how these guys have been working on it. And I'm talking from all aspects of our club, and the meetings and the travel and the trips and the preliminary trips and all that stuff. They've been working like crazy for this thing. It is hard. It's a hard thing to undertake. But they've got it nailed, and our guys know how to do it. It just takes a long time. It's a big process and all that. So I don't know. What I've learned about it is a big challenge. I haven't been, so I've never been there, so I don't know anything about the setup or any of that. But we're guaranteed that it's going to be a great place. We've got a great place to stay, and we've got facilities right there where we're working out and all that. And so it's really it's kind of like a bowl game is what it's like, and those always worked out okay. So I'm not worried about it.
How have you changed their sleeping, or will change their sleeping, eating?
There is some science to it, about trying to sleep on the way over, and then keeping them up the day we get there, and so that they can get a regular night's sleep, a real healthy night's sleep, without going to sleep during the day. That's one of the big issues, and then we have enough days to turn it around. There's a lot of different ways that people have done it. Where they go over the first of the week, or they wait as long as they can. We have chosen our options. After a long study, and we feel really good about what we're doing, so we should be okay. We'll be fine.
Will you try to keep it as close to a normal sort of week schedule once you get over there? Your Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, we do that as much as we can, no matter what. We're always trying to stay as normal as we can, because we get in these ruts that we like, and we know what we're doing, and we know what to expect, and so this feels a little bit different, but we certainly try to keep it as much the same as possible.
Has there been any moaning and groaning from players about the length of the flight or anything like that?
No, we don't. That's rule number 2 violation around here.
What determined you went in on Thursday instead of Monday?
That part was to get the plan underway, and get going, and then leave you enough time to adapt. Some teams go Thursday. We think this is the right way to do it, and the game plan will be well underway by the time we're out of here. So we'll have a full day tomorrow too before we get going.
Do you like the idea of the NFL trying to expand into, kind of trying to showcase the game internationally and things like that?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, it's an extraordinary game, and people follow American football. American football is way more widespread than we think. It's all over the place, and so there's interest. The travel is the issue. How could you ever get anybody if you wanted to make it more permanent? I've talked to Gus Bradley a lot about it when they went over a number of times with Jacksonville, and they became kind of like a home team over there in a sense, and they got very familiar with it and found success, and they had no problem with it. So. But the game is played, all in so many different countries, and it's surprising to us because we don't hear anything about it. But it's widely known, so I think it's great to be able to share it around the world.
What did Gus say about the most difficult aspect of it?
They had kind of made it through the difficulties, really, because they had become so familiar, and it was just making sure that everybody was focused, and then you didn't get distracted by the trip and the event of being on, in a foreign country and all that kind of stuff, just so that there was a process of normal focus, going into game time. They were concerned about that always.
So how does the travel of the trip kind of not change how you prepare for the game, but does it change how both teams would look then on Sunday with some unknown factors on either side?
I don't think so. I don't. I think all of us are going to try and stick as much to the script as we can. And there's no reason to, because we're playing over there and we're going to change anything. I don't. That shouldn't happen. Even though it's Wembley, we're not going to kick a soccer ball. So we're doing. It'll be the same game as always.
What have you noticed from the Raiders in the first few weeks? It seems like they've maybe not been as consistent
they've been ahead and had chances to play well in every game, and the games have just they struggled to get the finish in there, but they've got a lot of firepower and they've got a lot of offense, and I mean it's a star-studded offensive group that they have there, and the quarterback's completing over 70% of his passes, and I mean it's to a bunch of receivers that can make things happen. The tight end's been on fire. Jared Cook's been great. Jordy and Amari Cooper and on Martavis. I mean that's a good looking group, and Marshawn's back there. They're handing it to him. So they have caught our attention, by just the playmaking ability that they have, and they've got great coaching, and so. Unfortunately, for somebody, and hopefully not us, it's just a matter of time. These guys are going to get going and get ripping. They've been close enough to win all of their games.
Pete, you spoke with John over the years when he was in the broadcast booth. Did you get the feeling that he was going to come back at some point?
I always thought he would, just because he's got so much juice for the game. And he loves the game so much. I always thought he would, but he was so comfortable. he was living large, and he had a great gig going there, and so you could see why a guy wouldn't. There's a number of guys that I would have thought that would come back, and that didn't. So, it's great that John's back in the game. He's a great football guy, and means a lot to the game, and he's got great color and style and wisdom and expertise and all that stuff. It's great that he's back in.
Marshawn just sort of looked like the same Marshawn you guys had?
He looks good. He looks really good. He looks healthy and aggressive, and he wants the ball more. You can tell that, and his running style and everything about him, it looks good. He's caught some balls already, it's a well-rounded offense for him, and with Tom Cable there as well, and knowing how to bring out his strengths, they've got a nice running game, and he looks great, really. I gave him a hard time a couple years ago when he first came back, that he had gotten back into such great shape. I think, how come we didn't see that? He was in great condition. He was trim and fast and all that. So he looks as good as ever.
What's your favorite Marshawn memory?
Probably the New Orleans game. Yeah, that was probably it.
Do you feel like
There's a lot of memories now that I just crossed off the list there. I want you to know that. I'm giving you the one that's most obvious that I don't have to explain.
Would you like to give one you do have to explain?
No, I'm not going to give you one that I have to explain. No, you got the easy one. You gave me the chance for the softball answer. I gave it to you.
Was it true that he nearly took the field in a bath towel on the Monday night game against Green Bay when you guys had to go back out?
I'm not telling the stories, I'm not going there.
Do you feel like these past couple games, you guys have rediscovered the style of offense
Yes.
you want?
I honestly do. Yeah, this is where we've been seeking, and we feel really good about what we're trying to do. The guys up front are doing a great job. The running back group, whoever's out there, is really giving us the kind of intensity and the aggressive focus that we want. That I think it fits us together, and we have to keep doing it. We got a long ways to go here, but we've made a big turn, and it's taken us longer than I would ever have wanted to get to this point. But we feel like we can play the game that we want to play in the style we want to play it, regardless of where we're going. And we'll find out. Let's go see if we can take it across the ocean and do it as well. But that's really important to us.
To be able to do it with two different running backs back-to-back weeks, just what does that tell you about kind of the line and the offense as a whole?
Yeah, I think it talks about the commitment from A to Z, and certainly the play of the guys up front has continued to improve, but they've improved as we've given them the reins a little bit and let them come off the ball like we like to. It's all fit together well. We just didn't quite get the balance of it right at the start of the season. So hopefully we can build on it, and I think also seeing the connection between the play pass game too and complement is clear. The kind of, I don't even mind saying it because that's just who we are and what we're going to do, and we're going to keep trying to make it happen. In that fashion. So the fact that some of the parts are movable and interchanging, and that's good. That's good for us. It means we have a philosophy and an approach, and you can tell who we are.
Rashad kind of fit in that backfield with Mike and
he's just looking for his opportunity. He's dying to get in there. He's just scratching, clawing to get back out there and get more turns. There just wasn't enough ops, but this is a long season. There's a lot of carries. There's a lot of running to be done, and I can't wait to see him get in there and get going too. So he's done nothing but good stuff for us.
How much do you think the finger injury set him back in the summer?
It certainly did. Yeah, in your rookie camp, to miss a month, that's pretty hard. It just did. But he's back now. He's worked really hard in the last 3 weeks, to make sure that he wouldn't just arrived, but he's there in shape, ready to go, and ready for the opportunity to come. And he's taken a good step forward.
You guys went with Mingo when you guys were nickel. Just what have you seen on him, and what did you like about him in that role?
We wanted to rush him a lot in the game, and get him part of it, and keep his size and speed out there too, and so it was a good week for him. He learned a lot of football. He hadn't played a bunch of the Will backer spot in nickel, and we wanted him to be part of that this past week, and so in doing so, he had to pick up a lot of other stuff, and he's just going to be a better asset for us. He's been hasn't played as much as he did in that game, and he's been a core special teams guy as well. I mean, nobody's playing more football than he is now, so I'm really pleased with what he brings every week.
I think he played like 89 snaps between defense and special teams.
Yeah, that's more than we would like to do, obviously. But he hung in there, and he was tough the whole time, and we can't keep doing that though.
How are KJ and Rasheem doing for you this week?
Rasheem's still a couple weeks away. KJ is running hard this week. He'll run all throughout the week. It's going to be too much to ask of him to get him back this game. I think we got to make sure and take care of him and get him strong and confident and all that. With the break coming up, why would we go early now? I think we just need to maximize his opportunity to be at full strength, really recovered and confident and all that. So I think that's the best way to do it.
How's J.D. McKissick doing?
He's doing really well. He's running and working out and doing everything. So these next couple weeks are really big for him.
Is Doug Baldwin? He only had the one catch the other day. Is he's kind of bothered still by the knees at all, or is he just...
No, that had nothing to do with it. It just didn't go to him. We just didn't get the ball there. We always want Doug to get the football, and we want him to be in the middle of it. But it just got, we didn't throw the ball very much, and it just got mixed around where he didn't get it. There's always here clear intention to get him to be a big part of the game. It just didn't work out in this one.
Mike, it really been finishing runs very, very physically. It sort of reminds us of when Marshawn was doing that. You can see the teammates respond immediately after those runs. What does that do for you guys when those guys are running as hard as they are all the way to?
It's precisely what we're looking for. It really, the last few weeks have been the right attitude, the right intensity, the toughness that sends the message of what we're trying to be about, and they're an extension of the guys up front. You get to see those guys finish those runs, but they're connected, and our guys are trying to finish downfield and work hard as linemen and tight ends, receivers, and all that as well. It's just the way we want to play, and I'm so happy that shows up, and we don't care where we go or who we're playing. I mean, we're going to go try to be that same team every time we go out, and those guys are really the ones that are sending the message and ringing the bell for us.
Trey's caused 2 interceptions with pass breakups, just the way he's aggressively playing.
Yeah, he also forced a fumble too. He's had 3 big turnover plays, and it's really a product of the way he practiced throughout the offseason about going after the football. He really bought into being that next guy that's going to be a guy that's going to factor in turning the football over, and he practices it every day, and so it's really exciting to see him be that productive. Unfortunately, he's not getting the picks, but he's sure it doesn't matter. We're getting it for the team, and they're all forced plays by really good aggressive plays on his part.
In that sense, is Trey farther along than you thought he'd be at this point?
No, I don't go too far yet. He's just getting going, but he's doing terrific. He's I guess to be expressing his input in the games by making turnovers. Shoot, you can't do anything better in my book, and so, hopefully, fortunately, he'll start getting some picks and add that to it, and really add to the club's effort. But he's doing great stuff, and I'm really excited about what he's doing right now.
What kind of risk did you feel it would be to start Flowers from the game? Well, you had to because of injuries, but did you see that?
We didn't have to. We had the choices too. There's the other guys that could have played. What risks? Yeah, the risks are anytime you start a young guy early that it doesn't go well and they have negative experiences, and it weighs on them more heavily than an experienced guy might. And fortunately, that's why you hope to get through some games and he gets going and all. He's through that now. He's really on his way to being a real legit starter and trying to solidify himself that way. But that's the risk, is that if they have the setbacks and the issues, or the game, the game crucial plays, and they don't make the ones they want, then they might weigh more heavily on them and affect their ability to perform. But he's doing a great job.
In what ways have you seen him draw from his safety past and kind of maybe take a couple of those elements and apply them to what we're seeing?
He's tough. He's a tough guy. He's physical, and he likes that side of the game. Whether it's making tackles or it's attacking a receiver that's got the ball in his hands, or attacking the football when it's in the air. He's got a real nice knack, and it was one of the things I was hoping would carry over, because he was an aggressive safety in college, and even though he's pretty skinny back there, but he was still an aggressive guy that went after the tackles and the plays and threw his body around, and that's carried over, and so that makes him. He has the chance to have a real complete skill set.
Have you spoken to Rashad Penny about the pace or discipline?
Yes. Yeah, I've been talking to him for weeks. Yeah, in terms of getting him back off the injury, all kind. We've communicated throughout.
How has his reaction been? Most first round.
He's handling it, but he's frustrated, and that's exactly what I want him to be. Frustrated. I want him to be anxious to get out there. I want him to be, not unsatisfied with what's going on right now, and that's fine. I think that's the way. That's the only way he should be. He's classy, and he's for the team, and every time he would say anything, he would always talk about the team first. So he's got his priorities in line, and expect him to keep battling.
Where do you feel like your pass rush is right now?
I don't think we've been as effective. I think we've been saying this for a while now. We have not been as effective, particularly on early downs. Transitioning from the running game to the passing game, and. There's things that we are adding some rushers and stuff like that, adding pressures, and we did it in this last game to try and add to that. So it's just a work in progress.
What about on the O-line? It seemed like that was probably one of your best efforts of the year.
It was, yeah, it was the best we played. And when I say that, I think of the combination work that they did. Where guys were really fitting together and recognizing the fronts and coming off correctly to the second level. The effort, the toughness, and the finish part of it was really obvious too. And I feel like we're just getting going, and so it's really exciting. And we're developing some guys that can come in too off the bench, and that we're excited about too. George is playing more; he's more in part of the game plan. Posic's got a lot of flexibility where he can help us. Joey played really well, so we know Joey can play. Jordan Simmons is doing a nice job too, and as we continue to get him a lot of work behind Fluke, and as we work through the weeks. So Mike's doing a really nice job of developing the guys to become a really full unit, where we'll also have some backup help, and we shouldn't have to step back, if somebody has to step out of the lineup.
Given the way you guys have played up front the last 3 weeks, do you just continue rolling with Fluker and Sweezy as you go here, and that those are your guys moving
Yeah, that's
forward?
what we're going to keep going that way. Everything fits together just right now, but Ethan's working to get back in there, and we have no hesitation to putting him in the lineup, really at any spot. So, but I'm going to keep it the same as it is right now.
What is it about those two guys getting in there that's really helped you guys push things forward here a little bit? What are they doing?
Well, nobody's like Fluke. He's a monster, and his unbelievable strength and his length and the power in his mentality is really special. And JR has always been a terrific football player in terms of his toughness and his mobility, his strength. Now he has tremendous background too. Remember we started him; he'd never even done anything before at the spot, and he grew into it. Well, now he's gone. The experience of going away, a new system coming back, he's just grown. And so you get really good experience, good communicators, understand the principles, which is so much of playing offensive line, that you block the right guys with the right technique at the right time, and so we're just getting really accurate, communication from those guys and doing a good job.
In terms of player management, Marshawn's been a handful for every coach he's ever had. How do you?
I don't know if that's the case.
How you did with the pass?
I wasn't there in Buffalo.
How would you assess how you did?
How I did? Shoot, we did okay. We had a great time together. When we brought him here, he wasn't really first in the lineup there at Buffalo. You know, things had changed, and he was available months after we started to try to get him. And he was a really, if you remember, he was a real target of ours to go get him. And I bugged John for months and months about, you know, trying to keep making those phone calls. And so when he got here, you know, he got a fresh start. And man, he took it. He took it, the opportunity, and went with it, and fit into exactly the way I'm talking now. I should have been talking then, because I felt the same way about it. The need for a guy to bring the attitude and the intensity and the focus and the toughness, and he, you know, he was all of that. You know, he as all of our guys do, they grew up in kind of in our program, and they matured, and they went through a lot of experiences, and there was a lot of big things that happened in terms of championships and challenges and contracts, and a lot of our guys got married and had kids, and all kinds of stuff happened, you know, and not necessarily with Marshawn, but you know, he grew a lot too with us, you know, and so we just went through a lot together. I have tremendous respect for that guy, and so it'd be fun playing against him. I like playing against guys I like.
On a note unrelated to your game, the Huskies have Oregon this weekend down in Eugene, and as Chris Peterson does and a lot of coaches does, when there's a rivalry game, he restricts accesses to certain players, and I think the fear is, you know, someone's going to say the wrong thing, someone's going to rile up a rival. I'm curious, was that ever a concern when you were coaching in college, and if someone did say something, do you ever feel like that had an impact on the game? Or
whatever Chris does is right. He's awesome, man. He's a great ball coach. Whatever he needs to do for his club at that time, he's doing the right thing, and I'd support him with any turn he takes. If that's the way he figured it needs to be done this time, then there's a reason why. And there are, you know, there's some reasons why. You don't want guys to make mistakes. You don't want guys to get caught up in the hype and all that, and so they stay focused. And the rest of it, I don't know this specific. I appreciate that. The specifics are, you know, it just depends. You know, generally, I did things pretty much the same, try to keep it as consistent as possible, and so access was always limited to some extent. You know, but I didn't feel it was necessary to send different signals for different games, so we didn't change much.
Back to Fluker, do you have unique insight, because Mike Solari, of not just his physicality, but his makeup, his attitude, his team?
Absolutely, yeah. Mike was instrumental in Fluke being here. He kept saying about, you know, he's going to be good in the locker room, he's going to be good in the meeting room, he's going to be really special, he's going to be a really unique player in the team, you know, and because he'd been around him, he knew, and he was absolutely on point with that. I couldn't have expected Fluke to be as much fun to have around as he is. I just couldn't imagine the personality and the toughness and the love of the game that's so obvious. No matter whose team he's on, he's going to be one of your favorite guys, because he's exactly what you hope football players are like in terms of the love of the game and how he approaches it. So Mike was really instrumental. What really helped Fluke also is that he had been in the system too. So when he came in here, he knew the terminology. He was ahead of other guys, and he could help the communication and the transfer of the new stuff. And he was a big part of that. So he's been really valuable to us.
Have you had another veteran come in like that and immediately be so vital to the team vibe in the locker room and the personality?
Well, I just gave you an example. Marshawn was in his way, not in Fluke's way. In his way, he had a huge impact on our team, and Earl had his impact too in a totally different way, but just being part of the team, that they affect a lot of guys, That wasn't like a veteran guy, but some guys. Cam Chancellor eventually had that kind of impact on a ton of guys. Russell's had a huge impact on guys, and the way he approaches the game and all that. So, yeah, there's been a lot of guys that have had big impacts.
You mentioned Monday about missed tackles in the open field from the secondary. How do you correct that when you're in the regular season? You've got short time.
Yeah, well, there really are ways. Sometimes it's scheme. You get closer to where the guys are, so that there's not so much space. We had given a lot of ground and some coverage drops that allowed for a lot of room. And you give Todd Gurley that much room, it's just about impossible to get down one-on-one. Some guys have done it, but it's rare. So it's scheme sometimes. We work a lot of technique stuff. There's a lot of stuff that we learn from film about style of runs, and angles and pursuit and how to fit yourself into the situation you have, whether it's the sidelines or other tacklers to work with. We can work on all that stuff. You don't have to tackle full speed to get better, and we've been promoting that for a long time. It's the technique and the approach and the way that the way you fit things up. So those are the ways, and so we expect that we should be better. And really, it goes back to focus. I would say this too. One of the biggest techniques we have is using our imagination. You have to imagine what the play would call for, and as you're approaching it, because we can go full speed and run all the way, and then we don't hit each other. We can only wear pads one day a week, but it is in the approach. Can you be really mindful of that opportunity and how it would be at full speed, top speed, and what you would do in the situation? That's where using our imagination is a very powerful skill for us to develop. When you can't hit and you can't do things full speed.
Is that something Earl did best?
He was great at it. Yeah, he was willing. So it's interesting because some guys. Oh God, we're talking about this. Some guys are more willing to immerse themselves in what the imaginative moment presents, and so they really visualize and they really picture, and so they get the maximum out of every step they take, and all the way to the last instant they pull out of the collision. That's the guys that do that most consistently. Are generally better, and so you can improve your skills just through that practice on a regular basis. And Earl was fantastic at it. I mean, he wouldn't talk to anybody, nobody. He would just be in his own little zone, but he would be fitting things up, and he was great at it. And he was the illustration that we used for other guys of what it could look like, and it was a great example.
Anything else? Thank you.